So when I think about politics, what comes to mind is politics as usual. And that's not a good thing. I think that we need to have a commitment to change the conversation. We complain a lot about what's going on, and I can completely understand why people don't want to be involved, because there's no connection. There's no connection between what we want and how the political process, the electoral process, gets us there. But it's really up to us to make that connection and to make things part of the conversation that nobody's talking about. Like, no one's talking about poverty. Well, that's really important to me, and that's really important to spiritual people and part of this community that we're all a part of. But in politics, there's a lot of talk about the middle class, and the middle class is uniquely American and extremely important. But we want to talk about the poor too. We have an obligation to people that have less than we do. And the funny thing is that the middle class is becoming poorer and poorer, so it just becomes more germane and more important to shine a spotlight on these areas that are completely ignored by the mainstream politicians and by the two most important political parties. We're fighting the wrong wars. We're fighting the war in Afghanistan, we're fighting the war on terror, we're fighting the war on drugs, but we need to fight the war for our democracy, because no one seems to be fighting that. We're just ignoring that a lot of it's slipping away. People are apathetic, governments become more encroaching on our liberties, and we're just ignoring it. I mean, it's normal to be turned off because a lot of what's going on is just wrong. But if we don't take up the fight for the democracy, then it's going to slip away before it's too late. It seems that somehow spirituality for me always was very interior, it was very personal, but then I would kind of like leave it behind because I had to take action, and it was, and they were at cross purposes. But now, my spiritual work and my activism and my engagement in the political process is becoming more and more united, and I think it's actually quite natural, but at the same time it's counterintuitive, because one is, it seems like they don't work together, but they actually work really well together, because the more we work on ourselves, the more we're compelled to help others and to engage with others, and it's really about communion and reaching out and community. It's not just about sitting on the mountain by ourselves. So for me, right now, at this point in my life, I'm fired up about changing the world, and I'm really fired up about changing myself and seeking more and more depth in my spiritual evolution.